Hello to you. My name is Kadzielska and you are watching Poland Daily Culture. And we are still in China with Uziembło, sinologist. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good day to you all. Nice to see you.
And since we cannot travel to China ourselves right now, since China, because of the pandemic, closed for Europeans, especially since we haven't passed this test of COVID so well as the Chinese did, we're closed, and the only thing we can do about China is to talk about it or
well,
watch.
It's maybe for a long time it will be like that probably.
Well, which is very sad, especially for everyone who wants to travel and learn Chinese. I know a lot of students, Polish students, who came back from China actually fled because the pandemic situation, and they cannot finish their studies.
Well, no, they finished their studies. They finished their studies online.
Oh, I see.
All the foreign students can attend classes. I have a couple of students that came back earlier than they thought they would, and they're finishing their studies online. But it's not the same. Obviously, it's not the same, although Chinese are well prepared for online studies and they're doing it pretty well.
Well, at least this. But still, it's a change, and I would say also when we go there and when Polish students go there, they have this fabulous opportunity to sink in the culture and sink in the language, which nothing else gives us. But as I see, more and more Polish students are interested in China and speak Chinese. Is it a wave? Will it develop this way, do you think?
I don't know. I don't feel it as a wave. Since I teach for already 15 years in the Warsaw University, I don't feel it as a wave. It's always a big interest in China.
There were always a big thing.
Always, and there are always many groups of Chinese. Within our school, which is the East Languages School of Warsaw University, we have 3 great Far East languages, which are always the engine for the other languages, because our groups are the biggest and the most durable, so they keep on learning. It's Chinese, Korean, and Japanese.
Interesting.
And yeah, Korean and Japanese for obvious reasons, and Chinese not so obvious.
I would say in the opposite. I mean, I know that a lot of Polish young people especially want to learn Japanese because of their fascination of manga and anime.
Yes, of course, manga and anime, and Korean K-pop, BTS, and all that Korean music, Korean drama. It's very popular among young people.
But right now, Chinese are learning from the Koreans, I would say, when it comes to culture and TV series. They are catching up in some level.
Catching up really fast. There is a lot of things happening in Chinese culture, and some of them are really interesting. Like there is this locally grown shamate culture.
Tell us a little bit more about what is shamate.
Shamate is a kind of flashy, glam pop culture that grew up in the very poor areas, and those people, although they didn't have much income there, it's a bit like a punk, but in a Chinese way, with the Chinese music and music that is completely different. And there is other like drone music. It's also catching up in China. Have you ever heard about ambient drone music?
No.
It's like a buzz in your ears. It's building up, and it has a very rough structure. It's also catching up in China. And in China, you can find almost everything. One of the most interesting for me personally things in modern Chinese pop, not really pop culture, but modern culture, is Mongolian Chinese rock.
Mongolian Chinese rock?
Yes.
That sounds crazy.
It is. It is. Have you ever heard about throat singing?
Not really. I mean, I can...
Okay. Throat singing.
Yeah.
It's different from the heavy metal kind of. It's a different idea, because you are supposed to make an aliquote with your mouth. And it's interesting, and it's combined with rock and heavy metal. It sounds really amazing. Like The Who, but not The Who, WHO, but the HU.
I see.
Find it on YouTube. It's fascinating. It's very interesting kind of music, and it's very popular in the northern China among young people. pretty interesting.
Well, at least maybe it will take over the very funny opera, which is in China.
Yeah, and the people that are learning it are slowly bringing it back to Poland, and it will be interesting to see if there is any cultural interaction.
Since we are talking already about culture, I think it is a good moment to take one myth about Polish pop or Polish band that was supposed to be famous in China, but really wasn't, just to say it openly.
Yeah, it has something. It was something known to most of the sinologists, and actually, I was one of the propagators that no, the Bayerful is famous disco polo band is not famous in China, and they didn't actually perform as a band in China itself.
Because there was a rumor, and I think it was even put in media, that Bayerful sold like millions of copies of their CDs, of their songs in Chinese translation.
The Chinese translation was real.
Yes.
It was made with the cooperation of Mr. Darevich, as far as I know. And imagine what, Mr. Darevich this year, just recently, made a case in court against Bayerful for misusing the translated text, and and he also puts up the very clear message to media: no, they didn't make any career in China.
Well, that's actually sad. I wish they did.
But there is a Polish band that is actually I don't know how is it now, but was having regular trips and tours in China.
And that is?
Roan.
Ron.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Google it. Roan. It's a Polish band singing in English, making a very simple rock music in English. And I have seen pictures and recordings from their tour in China. So this is real. It's not like something that never happened with Bayerful, but it's actually a real tour, real concerts, real places filled with people.
To take over China and their market of more than 1 billion people would be a challenge. Well, I would say I'm sad that the Bayerful didn't do it, but maybe Rowan has a chance, or other new Polish band. I keep my fingers crossed for it, and I hope you are also even more interested in China. Stay with us for another episode, and thank you very much for watching Poland Daily Culture.